What if one night could destroy everything? 7 years of marriage, trust, routines, the warmth of home. But what if, in a single moment, your reality starts to crack? Subtle details, strange phrases, a phone that suddenly became more important to her than you. A regular evening turns into the first fracture, and then an avalanche. He just wanted to know the truth, but when it was revealed, it became clear there was no way back. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Please tell me which city and country you watched this video from. Now, let's get started. The November air was sharp that evening, crisp enough to bite at my lungs with each breath. Sabrina had mentioned she'd be spending the night out with her friends, and I had no reason to doubt her. Left alone in the quiet house, I nursed a beer, flipping mindlessly through the television channels, the moving images barely registering in my mind. 7 years of marriage had made me intimately familiar with her routines, the little things, the unconscious habits that defined her. But something felt off that night. Her last message had been brief. Heading home soon. Love you. On the surface, the words were ordinary, unremarkable, yet there was a forced quality to them, an unnatural warmth that didn't sit right. Just past midnight, the sound of the door opening broke the silence. She entered with a soft laugh, her heels clicking against the hardwood. Her hair was slightly tousled, as if she had been caught in the wind, or someone's hands. Her cheeks were flushed, and a different scent clung to her, not the familiar perfume she always wore, but something heavier, deeper, masculine. I didn't say anything at first. I simply observed as she kicked off her heels, tossed her purse onto the counter, and let out a sigh, the kind of exhale that came from having an incredible time. "Good night?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. She flashed a smile, too quick, too bright. "Yeah, it was fun." Her back was turned as she spoke, a subtle but telling move. "Just drinks and catching up, the usual." I nodded as if I believed her, but my gut twisted. I knew my wife, and something wasn't right. She curled up on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling through messages, occasionally laughing at something on the screen. But there was a shift in the way she held it, closer to her chest, more guarded. I took a slow sip of my beer, suppressing the storm brewing inside me. No need to overreact, not yet. Better to watch, to wait, to let the truth surface in its own time. The days that followed were unremarkable on the surface. Sabrina moved through our routines with ease, smiling at my jokes, leaving soft kisses on my lips, texting me throughout the day just like always. But the unease in my gut never faded. Then, on Friday night, she mentioned she was going out again. "Another girls' night?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She nodded while fastening an earring. "Yeah, Arya and Chloe want to check out that new bar downtown." I studied her for a moment. She looked stunning, too stunning. A sleek black dress that I couldn't recall seeing in ages. Her hair styled in effortless waves, perfume lingering in the air just a bit stronger than usual. "All right," I said after a pause. "Enjoy yourself." She leaned in for a quick kiss, grabbed her purse, and glanced back at me. "Don't wait up." But I did. An hour later, my phone buzzed. It was David, my best friend. "Hey man," I answered. He skipped the pleasantries. "Jeremy, listen, I'm at that bar Sabrina mentioned." I straightened. "Yeah, I know. She said she was out with the girls." David hesitated. "She is. But there are guys here too." A cold sensation crept through me. "What are you getting at?" "I've been watching her for a while. She's really close with one of them, laughing, touching his arm, hugging him. It looks bad, man." A hollow stillness settled over me. My grip tightened around the phone. "I'm coming." In seconds, I had my keys and was out the door. My knuckles turned white against the steering wheel as I drove, my jaw clenched so tight it ached. Sabrina, my wife, with another man. Laughing, leaning in close, her hands grazing his arm. The mere thought sent a fire through my veins. But before I could reach the bar, my phone rang again. David. They're leaving. I exhaled sharply. Are you sure? Yeah. She and the group just got into an Uber. The guy she was with went with them. My fingers curled around the steering wheel until my nails dug into my palm. All right, thanks. By the time I reached the bar, the neon lights still flickered against the packed crowd, music thrumming through the air. David stood near the entrance, a nearly empty beer in his hand. Tell me everything, I demanded. He sighed. She wasn't all over him, but it wasn't just friendly either. She kept leaning in, laughing at everything he said, touching his arm. His eyes met mine, steady. It wasn't how a married woman acts, Jeremy. I didn't answer right away. I simply nodded, my mind absorbing the weight of it all. You good? David asked. I swallowed hard. Yeah. My voice was empty, hollow. But I wasn't okay. I drove home, my thoughts tangled in a storm of anger, suspicion, and that sinking feeling of betrayal. The hours crawled by. 1 o'clock, then 2, still no sign of Sabrina. Finally, the front door creaked open. She stepped inside, reeking of alcohol, her face flushed, her movements slow and careless. I rose to my feet and waited. Where were you? I asked, watching as she slid off her heels with practiced ease. I told you already. We went to that new bar downtown, she answered, her voice effortlessly casual. I narrowed my gaze. That's odd. I spoke to David earlier. He mentioned he was there too, but he didn't mention seeing you. For a split second, something flickered in her expression. Uncertainty, hesitation. But she recovered quickly. Oh, right. We actually stopped somewhere else afterward, she added, rubbing her temple like she was trying to piece together the timeline. Maybe we had already left by the time he arrived. I watched her closely. She was lying. It was evident in the way she avoided my eyes, the way her voice carried just a little too much ease. But I didn't call her out. Not yet. I simply nodded, letting the moment pass. Maybe, I murmured. She smiled, brushing past me toward the stairs, but as I watched her retreat, a knot tightened in my chest. This wasn't paranoia. Something was wrong, and I intended to find out exactly what. The next morning, Sabrina stood at the stove, humming softly as she flipped pancakes. The tune was light, effortless, completely at odds with the woman who had crawled into bed at 2 in the morning with an excuse that didn't quite add up. She moved around the kitchen as she always did after a night out, as if nothing was amiss. To anyone else, she looked like the picture of normalcy, but I knew better. Then her phone buzzed against the counter. She ignored it. That was unusual. Sabrina was always checking her phone, Instagram, group chats, emails. She never left a notification unanswered, even if it was out of sheer habit. But this time, she didn't even glance at the screen. She acted like she hadn't heard it at all. And that made my stomach tighten. Another vibration. My eyes flickered from her to the phone just as it lit up. A name appeared. Ryan. Someone I didn't know. My pulse quickened. Maybe it was innocent, a coworker, an old friend. But the same instinct that had nagged at me the night before whispered something different. Who's Ryan? I asked, my voice deliberately light as I nodded toward the phone. She barely looked up from the stove. Oh, just a guy from work. Marketing team. We were going over a campaign last week. Smooth. Too smooth. I nodded as if I accepted the explanation, but something about it didn't fit. Sabrina wasn't in marketing. She worked in finance. What campaign? Her phone buzzed again. I caught the slightest shift in her demeanor, the way her grip tightened around the spatula, the brief press of her lips together. A flicker of tension. She was hiding something. But she didn't reach for the phone. Instead, she carried on as if nothing was wrong, kissing me on the cheek before heading upstairs to shower, playing her role flawlessly. I waited until the water started running. Then, heart pounding, I picked up her phone. We never kept secrets. We knew each other's passcodes. There was no hesitation as I unlocked it. And in an instant, my world collapsed. Last night was perfect. I can still taste you. Pain stabbed through my chest as I scrolled, my vision blurring. Wish we had more time. I miss you already. Then the photos. Sabrina, sitting in a dimly lit restaurant, a wine glass in hand, leaning into a man I had never seen before. Laughing, smiling, radiating happiness. This wasn't just a lapse in judgment. The messages stretched back for months, longer than I wanted to believe. Hotel reservations, inside jokes, plans for future weekends, pet names whispered through text. My grip on the phone tightened with every message I read. This wasn't just an affair, it was a relationship. A second life built behind my back. The shower shut off. I inhaled sharply, forcing my hands to steady as I placed the phone exactly where I had found it, my fingers trembling slightly as I withdrew. Upstairs, I heard her moving, the floorboards creaking beneath her steps as she dressed, unaware that the web of lies she had spun so carefully had just unraveled. In a few minutes, she'd come downstairs, smiling, pretending, playing the part of the devoted wife, acting as if she hadn't just destroyed everything we had built. I gripped the edge of the table, grounding myself. This wasn't the moment to confront her. Not yet. The next morning, clarity settled over me. I had enough evidence to end this, but I wanted more. Something indisputable. Something she couldn't talk her way out of. I wasn't going to ask her for the truth. I was going to make sure she had no choice but to face it. That same day, I hired a private investigator. Someone discreet, professional. Someone who had seen this kind of betrayal more times than he could count. Follow her, I instructed. And then, I waited. I gather every piece of evidence. Photos, videos, receipts, anything that solidifies the truth. The investigator gave a curt nod. Give me a week. I didn't have to wait nearly that long. Sabrina made it almost too easy. By the third day, I had everything I needed. Pictures of her draped over Ryan outside a bar, their fingers laced as they disappeared into a hotel, undeniable proof of an overnight stay. The evidence wasn't just damning, it was irrefutable. Any pain I had once felt had long since hardened into something sharper, a cold, unwavering resolve. That same afternoon, I sat across from my lawyer. I laid out the evidence, each incriminating detail laid bare. My voice remained steady, devoid of hesitation. I wanted a divorce, on my terms. The house was mine, purchased before the marriage, placing it safely beyond her reach. With the right legal strategy, she wouldn't get a cent from me. My lawyer assured me there was nothing to fear. The paperwork was filed, the process set in motion. The only thing left to do was erase her from my life completely. That evening, Sabrina made her usual exit. Out with the girls, she said, slinging her purse over her shoulder, pressing a light kiss to my cheek as if nothing had changed. As if she hadn't been betraying me over and over again. The moment she stepped out, I made the call. The locksmith arrived within the hour. Change them all, I instructed. He complied without hesitation. By the time he finished, Sabrina was officially locked out. I went upstairs and methodically packed every last one of her belongings, clothes, shoes, makeup, jewelry, even those ridiculous scented candles she insisted on keeping everywhere. Once everything was neatly stacked by the door, I sat back and waited. At precisely 1:53 a.m. I heard it, the soft scrape of her key against the lock. A pause. Then the rattle of the handle, followed by a sharp knock, escalating into urgent pounding. And then her voice, confused and irritated. What the hell? I took my time reaching the door, finally opening it to meet her furious gaze. Jeremy, my key isn't working. Arms crossed, I met her eyes evenly. Yeah, because I changed the locks. She blinked, momentarily stunned. What? Wordlessly, I reached for the folder the investigator had compiled, flipping it open to reveal the damning images. Her and Ryan locked in an embrace, fingers entwined, vanishing into a hotel together. The color drained from her face. "Jeremy, we're done." My voice carried no emotion. "I know everything." She froze, eyes fixed on the evidence as if she could somehow will it out of existence. "Jeremy, this isn't what it looks like." A hollow laugh escaped me. Don't insult my intelligence. This has been going on for months. Lies, deception, sneaking around, coming home to me like nothing had changed." Her eyes glistened with fabricated tears. "Please, let's talk." I lifted a hand, cutting her off. "No, there's nothing left to discuss. You don't live here anymore." Her breath caught as I stepped aside, revealing the neatly packed suitcases by the door. "Take your things and go." Her lips parted, her breath uneven. "You can't just—" "I already filed for divorce," I interjected. "And this is just the beginning." That was when she broke. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded, her voice quivering. "Jeremy, please, we can fix this." I shook my head. "No, you shattered this, and I'm done cleaning up the pieces." And then, I did the one thing she never expected. I lifted her bags and carried them outside without another word. She remained frozen in the doorway, watching in stunned silence as I placed them neatly on the porch. When I turned back, her face was ghostly pale, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Goodbye, Sabrina." Then, without a moment's hesitation, I shut the door in her face. The divorce was swift and merciless. Sabrina, of course, fought back. She played the remorseful wife, desperate to undo the damage. She sobbed in court, pleaded with my lawyer, flooded my phone with long, pitiful messages about how she still loved me. None of it mattered. I had proof. Every lie, every betrayal, every stolen moment she thought she had hidden. My lawyer dismantled her feeble attempts at a defense with ruthless efficiency, leaving her with no ground to stand on. By the end, she walked away with exactly what she deserved. Nothing. The house, mine, the savings, untouched by her hands. And Ryan? She moved in with him almost immediately, as if he was truly worth the destruction of 7 years of marriage. But their relationship barely lasted 4 months. One day, without warning, he left her. No explanations, no drawn-out goodbyes, just gone. As for me, I never wasted another second mourning a life that had never truly been real. The house, the place where I had once built dreams, where I had spent sleepless nights waiting for her to return, became nothing more than a monument to deception and wasted love. So I sold it and left the city, eager for a fresh start. For the first time in years, I felt unburdened. The weight of betrayal no longer lingered, no longer whispered doubts into my mind in the quiet hours of the night. I no longer lay awake wondering where she was, who she was with, what new lie she would tell next. It was over, and damn, it felt good. This story has come to an end. Betrayal is a blow that changes a person forever. Trust, built over years, can shatter in an instant. But it's important to remember, pain is temporary, and truth sets you free. This story is not just about infidelity. It's a lesson in self-respect and boundaries. No one is obligated to endure lies and manipulation. Sometimes the strongest decision is not to fight for the past, but to choose yourself and move forward. Love should be genuine, and relationships should be honest. And if someone doesn't value that, they don't deserve to stay in your life. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.